My name is Anthony Doc Hamilton. We're going to talk about things, man, that you never thought you'd ever hear on a podcast. We don't have no fear here. I would get in the car with the same people that whooped my ass all week, and we're going to go praise Jesus.
At some stages, I was going to church maybe 6 days a week.
Do I believe in God? Absolutely, I believe in God.
My daddy, he was just a mean person.
You couldn't read, you wrote books. I watched you from this side of the chair inspire people in the chair just by who you are.
Anthony Darnell, you bring your ass here. I'm from behind the chair. Come and watch us cook. I thank you guys for joining me from behind this chair. Michael Davison. In your name, this is what we do in the barbershop. That's Sweet Willie. You know what I mean?
That's it right there.
He seems to like that name, so we're gonna run with that.
Yeah.
No greater guys, no nicer people, right?
Yes, sir.
A lot of love right here. There's been many conversations between us, many, but I want to talk about how I felt for years about religion and God. I feel like asking God, and I may be wrong, but I don't care. Asking God, where were you? Where have you been? Did you see this? Did you see everything I just went through? I'm talking about the screen could fall off the window, down to the floor outside. Didn't nobody ask, what made it fall down? All I heard next is, Anthony Donnell, I'm gonna whoop your ass. You bring your ass in. I'm like, but you don't even know who the culprit is. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who did that, right? Well, that's why we're here today. I'm here to confess that I didn't think that God knew me.
Yeah.
I didn't think that God cared. There were times when I felt like God had just come down into my mother's right arm and just gave her the power to swing a little harder, you know. And that was bad. My mama, she was, Muhammad Ali didn't have nothing on her. Man, she had a left and a right. And she kicked well. Or in my case, not that well. It would hurt. But anyway, to make a long story short, I grew up around a lot of violence,
Yes, sir.
a lot of madness. Dad was as close as I could get to explain my father is to say it was chaos in a bag. You know those bags they have today, where everything's in the bag and it's a meal. You boil it, you whatever. My daddy, he was just a mean person, and he made me feel so unloved. Right? I didn't know why. I got 2 whoopings a week for almost 14 years. I got a whooping for the damnedest things, right? I'm not complaining because I got a whooping. I'm complaining because I seem to be the only one at times getting that. So that made me kind of say, God, come on, big fella. Man, all of them? Every one of them, right? And I never stopped singing. I never stopped humming. She would say, nah, I know, I heard her. I just beat the shit out of him. And he's still singing. Yeah. I'm singing because I feel bad for y'all. Because I was.
But that might be, when you look at it from your own personal perspective, right? And everybody has to make a determination of who God is to them, right? And that's the power of personal choice. But God also had you in that situation. He might be having you in that situation for them,
Right.
to help them understand, because nobody knows what that situation would have been without you, without your love for them and how you carried yourself, right? It might have taken them to even darker places. So, it's a two-way street. It's easy to look at yourself, right? Obviously, because it's yourself. But what's the impact that you're having on someone else? What's the impact that, and we don't know what God's plan is until we get there and ask him. And when we get there to ask him, it ain't gonna matter no way. Yeah. So that's gonna be a personal walk and a personal question. But at the same time, I think the hardest part sometimes is when you're going through it is to look at the other side.
Right.
What am I supposed to be doing? How am I making a difference? Right? How is God having me here to make a difference? I'm in this whatever situation is all bad for me, but am I taking the brunt off of somebody else? Am I teaching somebody else how to love? Am I helping somebody else's heart or mind, or where they're gonna go and what they're gonna do next by being here in this situation?
Right.
I mean, I, as a parent, right? I speak both as a child and as a parent, but as a parent, you make mistakes, right? You don't always do the right thing, and when things are going on, pressures of being a parent, being a spouse, pressures of work and all kinds of other dynamics, those things come into the household. So those things may spill over into your children and how you deal with your children. Is it right? No. Does it make it right? No. But at the same time, you gotta try and figure out a way to hopefully try and move around that.
I think that
Which you've done. Right. You've moved away while you can recognize what was going on. Your lifestyle has changed tremendously. How has that changed you? That's changed who you are, how you see people.
Yes.
And how you see life and how you journey through life, right? Because of your own struggles.
I just want you guys to know that this means something to me, because I feel like you guys can give me your perspective.
Of course.
You can tell me, because I love you guys, right? But I want some answers. If not today, then when, right? If not from you, then who? Okay?
I feel more or less it's oftentimes a never-ending journey, right? Just kind of the spectrum of life. You're forever learning. As we previously were talking about, like pre-mic, I had spoken to being a strength and conditioning coach for a couple of years, and like the kind of the early stage of my 30s, right? And it vastly, kind of transitions from being these young people's age, because it's high school, right? They're 14 to 18, as to where I'm now early 30s, but I was there, roughly 20 or so years ago, give or take. So as you kind of look at just the inner workings and the different aspects, it's like, okay, so, the battle that you guys are going through right now, I've more or less been there, right? It's just different iterations. So it's just, it's a navigating thing, right? As, you kind of went through the early stages of growing up, it seemed difficult, of course, right? But you always had an unwavering love for your parents. I think in large part, oftentimes, that kind of speaks to spirituality in essence, right? Like it's this unwavering love. You can't really conceive it nor explain it, but it just is what it is. As to where on occasion, and I think we're the most kind of informed generation now, right? And that's just because we have mobile phones. Google is very free, so you have the nihilistic approach, right? Which is those that believe that life essentially has no meaning. You have the agnostic, where they believe that there may be a God, there may not be. And then of course you have the I don't want to say sex for lack of better words,
Free
but
willing. What do you believe? You believe there's a God?
me personally,
Yeah.
I'm deeply spiritual, but I don't necessarily regard any particular denomination, right? Like I believe everyone had something right, but I believe everyone has shortcomings just as we as people do, you know? So as it pertains to faith, I'm Christian. Granted, as I said, you know, before in previous conversations, you can't circumvent the Black, you know, kind of spiritual experience, right? So I grew up Apostolic. At some stages, I was going to church maybe 6 days a week, you know, and I learned a lot through that, of course. But I think that the best testament to regarding and honoring faith and, you know, God, however you may acknowledge him, kind of holding space for everyone's personal beliefs. I believe everything is with purpose, you know, everything, irrespective of whatever the experience may be, hardship, joyous, euphoric, everything has purpose. So
Have you ever, I'm going to ask this question because I don't think I'm getting what I need. Have you ever had a situation occur, come up, and you said, man, where's God now? Where is he?
last 2 years,
Last 2 years.
the last 2 years.
Do you care to share?
I can. Man. You know I'm sensitive, man.
That's all right. Let it go, buddy.
I lost people.
Mm-hmm.
I never fathomed I would lose.
Yeah.
I can process through reason.
Right.
I think to have visceral responses is a choice. I try to rationalize everything
Right.
in a regard of purpose.
Right.
I couldn't make sense of that though.
Right.
I lost 2 uncles in 1 year.
Yeah. Death has a way of doing that.
Cancer is very prevalent in my family on both sides. So one passed away from stomach cancer, 30 days. He found out to that very end. My Uncle Mike, God rest him, man. And I remember being a young man and he would say, he would say, you know, one day, you know, I'm gonna be the age that Nana and Papa are right now. You know, me, your mom, my aunts and uncles. And I said, no, I don't see it. You know, it's myself and my cousins. One's younger, one's older. And I would laugh. And he would say, no, man, it's just how it goes. And at every stage, through every funeral we would go to, every family member, always older, he would say, man, hey, you know, just keep living. People keep dying.
Yeah.
I didn't see it that way. And it's ironic because going from different environments, because I moved relatively frequently, I started to lose a lot of peers.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, you know, I could process that far better than I could process losing someone that was older.
Yeah.
I struggled with that.
Right.
Intrinsically, you know, on its face, does it make sense? No. But it was easy for me to process, just understanding the challenges of adolescence and that undertaking. But so it was October 6th. He called my mom and he said, at least I'm finally going to the hospital. And she said, Michael, she said, is this about the same issue you were having, you know, back in August? And I said, yeah. He said, man, I haven't been able to urine, you know, and when I finally did, he said it was amber color. And immediately, just because, you know, fire school and, you know, just kind of basic aspects like that, I said, what sounds like renal failure, but there's no way, right? This is my guy, there's no way.
How did you feel? How did you feel when you heard that, the news?
I felt defeated. I felt hopeless. I immediately said, okay, well, if it's renal failure, man, I'm a pretty healthy guy.
Yeah.
I said, so, you know, whatever he needs, I'm sure we can figure it out. So I remember getting there and I'm talking to the doctor a bit and they're kind of giving me the full breadth of everything. And I'm asking these questions. I said, I'll be honest, doesn't look very promising.
Mhm.
He's previously had cancer, and these things they're kind of the after effects. I said, okay. So I went 6th, 7th, and at one point it felt like I wasn't sleeping, man. Because this the time I was still working with the high school kids,
Mhm.
So I'm getting there early in the day, and I'm discussing different things with them, and it's ironic because when I first met all the kids, they would share different things with me because they felt like I was young, right? Lack of better words, they felt like I was hip. I
Mhm.
kind of understood them a little bit, and
Mhm.
I would tell them, hey, the life is really, really precious, you guys. You know, it can be taken very easily. You guys, please be careful on the weekends. I understand you want to have a good time, but just take it easy.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate real quick.
Come on.
You sometimes stuff like this happens
Yeah.
and we get so mad.
Yeah.
We get so frustrated because there's never enough time here for our loved ones, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever say, man, what's going on? You God? I ain't got no more. What else you gonna take from me? Right? And where is the love in that, Jesus? Right? Then they say, oh, well, your mama just got tired.
Yeah.
She went and laid down. But me, I'm trying to make sense of everything. How you gonna take my mama, my uncle, my daddy, my brother? God, dog.
I hear you and I get it. I think differently. I have to think that God knows better than what's going on. Yo, uncle, there could be more pain on the other side for them.
Right.
It ain't about taking away from you, as in more it is taking them to a place where they don't suffer.
Right.
There's opportunities, and some people are in the hospital now because they've had heart attacks, strokes, aneurysms, whatever the case may be, in comas, and you understand. The question is why? Why are you here? Right? Why is your body still here, but you can't talk to me, you can't have any conversation with me? Maybe because God's leaving them here so you can say goodbye. So because you ain't strong enough to let them go yet, they there. I take the side that, and I've had loss too. Don't get me wrong. I've had loss too, and it hurt. But I also come back to the fact that I don't know everything. I don't know what God knows. There are people who talk about being atheists and I don't believe in God. You got to believe in God to not believe in God. That's my thought. But I don't want to say that. And I, like you, spent a lot of time in church when I was young, and days I want to go home. I want to go outside and play. I want to go out in the yard. I want to do all those things, play football on the street, all that. I don't want to be at church, right? But that stuff seep in, and you understand that. And I know, and you hear all the, you can't be a scientist and say there is no God, right? Because you don't make a living, breathing, thinking, evolving being out of just something just come up. It don't just happen that way. So do I believe in God? Absolutely, I believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe that in order to make a body like we have and an amazing person,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be that and above.
Mm-hmm.
So how do God's ways are not, you've heard say God's ways are not our ways. I can't think, I can try and process but I'm not him. He know better than all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And while I know that things happen, I have to trust that God's not going to do something. He's not doing something to me.
Yeah.
Right? All the things, people he's taken from my life, all the things that have happened, good or bad, would seem good or bad from my limited perspective, because I only can see so much, that I have to trust that God has my best interest at heart. And it's not about him getting on my page. It's about me getting on his. And so I try and I get
I
it.
sure find that hard to do. When I was a young boy.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying.
Well, when you young,
yeah.
it's hard to do that.
Well, when I got a little older.
Yeah.
Let me give you some more stuff. I'm going to post some more stuff
Go on some more.
Even when I got a little older,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man.
Yeah.
I would get in the car with the same people that whooped my ass all week.
Mm-hmm.
And we going to go praise Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
My praise voice wasn't that loud.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it kind of shook me, because I was like, man, this is crazy. But despite all that, I love what you said. I love your spirit. I knew you would say that. That's why I had you on here. But I'm not hurting because of God.
Yeah.
I just felt like you sure watched a whole lot before you decided to do something.
Mm-hmm. From your perspective.
Yeah.
But who knows what was going on in order to make I take this analogy. People talk about, people come together like two ships passing in the night, right? Some people come in your life, they come in your life for a moment, for a season, for a day, for a moment, and they gone. Some people come in your life, stay for a year, a couple years, and they gone. Some people come in your life and stay in your life. That don't get engineered. Somebody in some country, thousands of miles away, that person and I are going to meet at some appointed time on some appointed day for them to come into my life, share with me something that changed my life and direction. That is not orchestrated by just happenstance.
Well, you better calm down.
That's happens. So reason I say that is because you ask why God said it, because if you look at it in a simplistic way, it's a giant puzzle that's going on. And it's a whole bunch of pieces on the chessboard. Every single human being that's here behind the camera, and that's just one spot. There's all kinds of engineering going on. God running all that. He running the whole board. You only see what your limited portion is. God moving all kinds of directions to make things happen for everybody's life about what's best for them.
Right.
So even while you're young, when you don't understand that, right? He's still moving. God loves the children and the fools, right? Because he's going to take care of them. So it may not feel like that. It may not feel like that when you're young because maybe you don't have it. I'm just saying, maybe because you didn't have enough experience. Maybe you'll only see because your vision is still even limited then because as a child, you look up to your parents. You look up to, that's my world. Before you know who God is, before you come to know who God is, that's your God. That's your people. That's the one that's supposed to be loving you. Now, whether you got that from just your own internal pieces or watching somebody else's dealing with their parents and how they loving on them, how come mine ain't loving on me? What's going on? I don't understand it, right? But as old folks, we said this earlier, in the by and by, you understand it as things go on. You may understand, like I talked about as a parent, there's all kinds of stresses going on in their life. Hell, we got enough stresses going on in our own lives and we can't have manage it, let alone what God got going on. So all I'm saying is, as you grow and as you've grown, yes, I get that while you're young, it's like, oh, God, where are you at? What are you doing? I don't see it. I only see this. I only see my behind getting whooped every single day. Why is it coming down on me? Right? And it feels like, and the people who's supposed to be loving on me, supposed to be taking care of me, supposed to be hugging me and kissing me and telling me how great I am and what I'm supposed to be doing in life and how I can go out and change my own life and go change my own world and supporting me were the ones who seem to be tearing you down. But at the same time, you still here.
Still here.
And you still swinging.
Still swinging.
And you swinging better than most. Right? And the resilience that all that situation put in you, because I watched you from this side of the chair inspire people in the chair just by who you are. You couldn't read. You wrote books. You talked in front of adults, in front of children, and told them how they can change their life because of all the experience you had and all of what you got and what happened to you. You channeled it and put it somewhere else in a positive manner. And that drive and force started on the football field because where you find your accolades and where you find your support and where you find people who gave and poured into you, then you turn right around and figure out how to pour that into somebody else.
That's right.
And that's because God was watching.
Yes.
And it ain't because he wasn't watching. It wasn't because he didn't care. It's because he did care. And he made you perfect. Regardless of what you think are flaws, regardless of what other people may think are flaws, he made you perfect for the job you're supposed to be doing and the job that you do every day, sit in front of that chair. Because as people come, I've seen people come in here with their head hung down, walking out smiling. Even for a moment, you change somebody's life, you change somebody's story. As a coach, you hope that what you pour into that child is not just about the sport, it's about how to live your life and how to be better today than you were yesterday, how to be better tomorrow than you are today. And I've watched you do that with people. So people go out of here and they come back, but you go out of here, you never know what somebody gonna do. You never know whether your conversation is gonna be the last one that they decide. And I tell my coaches all the time, before they go step in front of a train, before they go step off in front of a bus, you don't know what they're going through.
Right.
It's the interaction. But I watched you do what you do because of what God has poured into you. And all while your experiences felt like I'm not seeing. God is orchestrating through you how he's moving people on the board. And he's moved people through that chair. Why? Because they need to come to see you. So that's, you ask why God got, because God got a plan for you.
Michael Davison.
I'm sorry, I'll stop. Man.
Michael Davison.
I'll stop.
Michael Davison.
Yes.
I needed that.
Oh, okay.
That was beautiful.
That ain't me, that's him.
Okay. Well, I accept it.
Well, there you go.
That's right.
Can I give you the converse to that though?
You give me the cap.
If I may. And I think maybe even Mike can attest to this. I've come in here and very literally laughed to tears. Myself, multiple other gentlemen, young women, women of age. I mean, we've taken the greatest part in your candor and everything that you took from your journey. It's made you really special, man. I mean, extremely, there's not a time when I can be speaking to anybody about you and I'm not doting. I have to. You're special.
Thank you.
I mean that. Like Mr. Hamilton, you're special, man.
Hard part, you just don't always see it.
And
you sit on the other side of the
maybe
chair.
You can't see it.
Hey, that was a good one.
You like that one?
That was a
Look,
good
hey, but maybe to that point, maybe you can't see it, right? Just as Mike said previously, it's kismet.
Well, here's the thing. I would tell you, you see it. Just trust that what you're seeing is accurate.
Right.
The love that people see, the love that you may have missed is still the love that you get, right? We're all a product of our environment, right? In some way, shape, or form. But it's not just being a product of your environment. It's about what you decide to do with it. And you decide to take it to a different level. You changed the narrative of what it's like. Fact of you doing a podcast, fact of you talking about where you've been, what you got going on, the heartbreak that you have, is somebody gonna see this. And again, this is extending your reach from this chair. It's gonna touch somebody else who got the same situation going on. But guess what? They don't have the breath to see how you see. They don't have the resilience to deal with what they're dealing with. They think they're alone, and they say, "Oh, I'm not alone. I'm not by myself. Somebody else made it. Look what somebody else has done," right? You giving somebody encouragement by being vulnerable. One of the things that you talk about comedians always see things in a very different light. One of the biggest one I love, Richard Pryor. But Richard Pryor talked about his pain. He had you a way of laughing about his pain, right? But to know that he's gone through that, he sees it in a different perspective, but it's harder. But you get a window into that lifestyle and you recognize either you're appreciative of where you are, but you know that there are people that are out there hurting. What you've done is doing the same thing, but in a different way. Here's how I hurt. Here's what we're on, but you can make it.
Right.
I didn't learn how to read, but I wrote a book.
Yes.
Telling the kids, you can do whatever you want to do. Everybody said I wasn't going to make it.
Right.
And you told me that yourself. They said I wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
They said I was going to be done.
They told me that I would not live, productive life. You may not have the things that other people have.
Yeah.
But
God had a different plan for
yes,
your
he
life.
did.
And whether or not you could see that at the time, He had a plan for
Couldn't
you.
see it.
And now now the plan he has for you is not just for you because of your personality, because of who you are. Instead of as low down as you thought you were, he's exalting you enough to be able to do what you're doing and touch people's lives. That is a blessing.
Yes.
That is a responsibility.
Yes.
Only anointed by God to be able to touch somebody else's life.
I got one more. And this is a beautiful moment. I just got to share it with the people.
Yeah, please.
I got home. I'm now 44 years old. I want to go to Dallas, and I want to show everybody in Dallas that I made it.
Mm-hmm.
My boy, Leonard Anderson, picked me up from the airport. And on our way over to Oak Cliff, the area where I was raised, he said, let's go in here and have a drink. We went in. I'll never forget it. And this is where a lot of stuff started with me. And we went over close to the bar, and there was this man. His voice was familiar. He had gotten older, but his voice was just ringing in my ear. And I walked over, and I said, "Excuse me, I want to buy you a drink." He said, "Boy, do I know you?" I said, "Yes, sir, you do. I used to be in your class at 11:45 every day. Your name is Mr. Creech. You told the class to laugh at me. You made them laugh. And I never forget that. No matter what role Al we was on, Anthony Reed, everybody laughed. He said, I'm so sorry, son. But what's your name? My name is Anthony Hamilton. I'm the one you said wouldn't make it. I'm now a published author. Mr. Creech, the next time you get me in your class, don't laugh at me. Teach me how to read. That was one of the greatest meals I've ever eaten. I lived long enough to see that. He said, you wrote a book? I said, sir, I've written 3 now. And I'm going to write some more. And I thank you guys for sharing today, really, because this is where it all started with me. And this is where it ends, right? Not ends like over, but this is what you can do if you never quit. And thank you guys for loving on me. Thank those people that are tuning in. I am what you get if you never quit.
Yeah.
You get a chance to sit here and say thank you. Hell of a road, but I'm glad I stayed on path. I'm glad I made it here. And if I can, I'd like to stay here a little longer, right? I love you guys.
Love you more.
And the viewers, thank you for tuning in, for coming to see about, little old me from behind this chair. Thank you guys for making me reverse my thoughts and believe in better, and that I can be a part of that better.
Thank you for being here.
Impossible to do it without my people.
Yes, sir.
I love you all. Yeah. Take care, like, share, and subscribe. We're going to do some great things together.
Yeah.
Thank you.